Thank you to both of you and your families. Thanks for your distinguished service, and you're willing to serve at the highest level in your field. Mr. Cole, you mentioned something that most Americans probably need to pay more attention to. 300 Americans die every day. Did you say that from fentanyl poisoning?
Yes, sir.
And fentanyl comes across the U.S.-Mexican border, is that correct?
Yes, sir, it does.
And the precursors to fentanyl come from what country mainly?
From China.
Do you agree that China has done very little to combat the precursor problem that exists in China?
I would agree. Yes, sir.
Do you believe that China is complicit in the fentanyl poisoning of America?
Yes, I do.
Do you believe the Communist Chinese Party, if they had more will, could do a better job?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. You're a great witness. Mexico.
In recent years, the United States has witnessed a dramatic escalation in the opioid epidemic, with fentanyl emerging as the most lethal and pervasive threat to public health and national security. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid estimated to be 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine, has been responsible for a staggering number of overdose deaths across the country, averaging over 300 American fatalities per day. This crisis has not only devastated families and communities, but has also exposed deep vulnerabilities in the United States border security, international drug enforcement cooperation, and diplomatic relations with key global actors. During a recent Senate hearing, top U.S. officials and experts discussed the urgent need to confront the transnational forces fueling the fentanyl crisis, with a particular focus on the role of Mexican drug cartels, the People's Republic of China, and violent criminal organizations such as MS-13.
You say Mexico's your biggest problem. It seems like it is. Real briefly, what are the tools you need to combat the problems you see in Mexico that you don't have?
Yeah, first, thank you for the question, Senator, and I enjoyed our discussion yesterday that started with talking about the border and keeping the border secure on the southern part and the northern part. And then we dove into talking about the cartels in their drive in Mexico. Not only their drive in Mexico, but the corruption that's associated with the cartels from the government, from the financial institutions.
Are there parts of Mexico that are pretty much governed by cartels?
Yes, sir.
What percentage of the country of Mexico would you say is dominantly governed by cartels?
Well, I would say a majority. I left DEA in 2019 from Mexico City and saw the dominance that the cartels had at that time. CJNG controlled 24 of the states in Mexico.
Let's just slow down for a second. You know, you're telling us, and I believe you, you've been on the front lines, that our neighbor in Mexico, when it comes to law enforcement and other activities, is pretty much controlled by cartels.
They work hand in hand, yes, sir.
Wow. So to our friends in Mexico, that is unacceptable. So what can we do to change that dynamic?
We need to build capacity, similar to what we did in Colombia in the 80s. We need to continue with building the capacity with the judicial wire intercept program. And for what that means is, in Colombia, we started with 50 phone lines to conduct targeted investigations against cartel leaders, and we need to move that to Mexico. Currently, in Mexico, we do not have the process of a judicial wire intercept program, which allows both governments to share information.
Well, my time's running out, but give me a list of what you need that you don't have. Do you think Mexico is willing to embrace what they have to do to change this dynamic?
I think due to the tremendous diplomatic pressure and the president's pressure as well, they're going to have no choice because too many Americans are dying every single day.
All right, sounds good. Are you familiar with MS-13?
Yes, sir.
Briefly, what are they?
They're a terrorist organization.
Yeah, they've been designated a foreign terrorist organization.
Yes, sir.
They're involved in drugs, fentanyl.
The hearing underscored how precursor chemicals used to manufacture fentanyl are predominantly sourced from China, while the final product is often manufactured and trafficked into the United States by powerful Mexican cartels. The conversation brought to light the reality that parts of Mexico are under de facto control of these cartels, creating a significant challenge for U.S. and Mexican authorities alike. The testimony provided by law enforcement veterans painted a troubling picture of inadequate international cooperation, systemic corruption, and the growing reach of terrorist-designated gangs like MS-13, whose members are identifiable by specific tattoos and symbols linked to their criminal activities. These gangs are involved in a wide range of crimes beyond drug trafficking, including extortion, kidnapping, murder, and money laundering. In highlighting these critical issues, the hearing sought to push forward a comprehensive and aggressive strategy, including diplomatic pressure on foreign governments, expanded surveillance and wiretap capabilities in Mexico, and greater intelligence sharing between agencies. The aim is not only to disrupt the deadly supply chains fueling the fentanyl epidemic, but also to hold accountable the international actors whose inaction or complicity continues to enable the mass poisoning of Americans.
Extortion, kidnapping, drugs, intimidation, money laundering.
In your time in the DEA, do they have like membership cards?
Not necessarily the membership cards, but they are well recognized based on tattoos and different.
Do you have a photo I think our office provided to you?
We spoke. Yeah, we spoke about it earlier. Yes, sir.
Can you give this to? All right, this is a photo of tattoos of Mr. Ebreo Garcia. Much attention's been paid to his case. I think he's in Venezuela. Can you see the photo here?
Yes, sir, I can. I have a copy of it.
Okay. Based on your time and experience and expertise in the DEA, what does that photo or those markings suggest to you?
Well, they suggest that he's an MS-13 member, that those are his markings. That's his brand. Not only my time at the DEA, but currently I participate.
So the start with a leaf, what's that a sign of?
Marijuana.
Okay. The next one is,
His smiley face.
okay, and the next one is?
I believe that's a 1. I can't. It's a little blurred out for me, sir.
Yeah.
And then the last one's a 3 backwards. It looks
Okay.
like from here. Yes.
So based on your time as a DEA agent in the field, particularly in Mexico, these tattoos are consistent with MS-13 associations.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Do you know of any other set of combinations that would suggest some other organization this represents?
With this particular one, no, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator